Hello, and I would talk about something that happened a couple of years ago. It was the pandemic, and I'm sure that you remember that at the beginning we were motivated, we were persuaded, and sometimes even forced to start using different technologies, application. And at the beginning, it was something new, right? Everyone was excited, even the students were like having a good time, they enjoyed the classes. But let me ask you, if you continue using the same apps, the same websites, the same games, yeah, and most importantly, ask yourselves if you have the same students from 6 years ago. Well, that is a problem. There's what I saw a problem, and this is my attempt to solve this problem. Hello, my name is Ricardo Velasquez. I've been an English teacher for more or less 21 years, and I created this course with the intention to help teachers and to help myself go from passive learning to active engagement, designing inclusive digital courses with UDL. And to be honest, this is the first time that I came across UDL concept because it's something that I hadn't seen before, but I really liked it, I really enjoyed it, and now I try to apply this UDL, Universal Design Learning, to every single class I have. To be honest, it is difficult. It is not something simple. And we as teachers face a very big challenge: time. Sometimes you don't have enough time to plan a class as you would like to. And then you have to struggle with many things at the same time. But believe me, when you really dedicate the time to plan a class in a meaningful way, you will see that the result is less frustrating and then more rewarding. So, what's my course about? I saw a problem that in many cases you have seen this passive teaching, passive learning, and passive experiences. I have seen this at high school level, at junior high school, and even at a college level, where professors or teachers just connect to classes and they start talking, they start just reading the slides they have, and even if the material that they share is really nice, really colorful, sometimes they lack the passion, they lack the experience. Remember that when you have a course online, students don't connect to the class just to acquire knowledge. They can just get into Google and search for whatever they have, and then they will get that knowledge. No, the students get into your classroom to live the experience, and there's where you have that amazing power. So a couple of years ago, I was teaching a class, and I've been working at the place that I work for more or less more than 5 years, I would say. So a student asked me teacher, do you usually use the same material every year? And I was not sure on what to answer, because it is not that I use it, but basically we sometimes recycle material. So I said, well, sometimes I change some activities. And then he asked me did my brother actually work with these activities? Because I have taught his brother some years ago. And then I said, oh, I guess he did, yeah. But later that day, I asked myself that question, and I was like, well, basically, yes, right? And then that happened, that moment that you said, something is not quite good here, something might be wrong. And then I saw that they were totally different. And there's when I was reading about the UDL principle, designing something for different students, giving them options to learn, then I realized that not all students are the same. So the next day I got into my classroom and I was just staring at them, trying to see the characteristics they have. And it was really funny to see that some of them are totally visual, some of them and you can tell that they are kinesthetic, yeah. So giving them different ways and giving them options to learn totally changes the purpose of learning and teaching. So my course goes and offers you as a learner, as a student, different ways to learn the modules. We go from module 1 to module 5, trying to care for the student, because you have to keep in mind that as a teacher, your student is the most valuable asset that you have. So in module 1, we try to analyze, get to know the student. That's something very important, to make your student feel comfortable, feel cared, and feel that he is actually important in the class, even if it is online. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Even more, I will say, if it is online, because if you just connect to the class and you say good morning, okay, let's get it started, right, you automatically build that wall. And then even if the student tries, yeah, and sometimes doesn't even try, connection won't happen. Then in module 2, we will try to analyze the material, and it is very powerful to choose on what to see, what to teach, what to practice, what to do and what not to do. Remember, every group is different and you will have different goals, different intentions with each group. Then we go to module 3, in which we will have some hands-on the material. Module 3 is so powerful because here is where you design different materials. I'll try to challenge myself to not always repeat the same activities, because I know, even if you know that some activities worked, yeah, they might not work with the same with another group, I'm sorry, because you will have different students. So module 3 focuses on giving each student like the language they speak. So I try to give you some pieces of advice, I try to give you some recommendations and show you some examples of some things I do in order to create material for students, not only with students that you have like in face-to-face classes, but also material for online classes, which may represent a bigger challenge, because I know sometimes we go against time and we don't have like all the time to plan the class. But as you go teaching, you start getting to know your students, and once you do that, it is easier to come up with ideas and to come up with material that you know that will work. Then in module 4, I try to guide you on how to assess your students, because it is not all about having a quiz, filling out of forms, right, or finishing a test. Yeah? So sometimes there are different ways to assess your students, and believe me that it is not sometimes even necessary to have a grade. You as teacher, you will feel so rewarded when you see that student that struggle a lot, is producing something in English. There is the actual rewarding moment of the day. Then in module 5, we will have the opportunity to work together in preparing a real lesson plan. So I'll try to guide you using what we have learned in all the previous modules, right? So we will have a Zoom meeting, and the intention is to be with you. It is not that I know it all, but I am trying to come up with this solution because I've seen that it is a real problem. I have been a student there, and I always ask myself, like, is this the actual experience that I would enjoy being a student? And if the answer is no, then I would encourage you to take this course, right? Because it will change you in a way. It will change the perspective that you have about your class. And sometimes we don't even know how capable on how much we can create, until we discover the power that we have to make our students live an experience. So that is the invitation. So this is the course. Basically, each module will have its own title, right? So this module 1 is the first step to engagement, knowing your learner, and you will have different material in order to understand what the module is about. So each module will start with an introduction in which I tell you a situation that you can totally relate to, a situation that is connected to the module itself. Then you have options, and you can go over an infographic, for example, and you can understand like visually the different topics that the module will be about. So each module also has a quiz that you're supposed to take at the end when you finish understanding, studying the module. So in this case, module number 1 is like getting to know your student, how you're supposed to understand what the student is about. Module number 2 is setting the direction, writing clear learning objectives, and here is where you will work with the material. You have a PDF that you want, like if you want to read, if you want to highlight, print it, yeah. You also have exactly the same, yeah. And here I'm showing you an interactive activity that you're supposed to take at the end when you have like finished watching the video, reading the material, listening to the podcast related to module 2. Remember that this module 2 is about the content that you will include in the class. Module 3 is where we will see UDL in action. Here you have the opportunity, and this is designing for engagement, reaching learners in different ways. Here you have the opportunity to decide how you want to get this knowledge, right? You want to watch the video, you can just click in video. Then maybe you are not into watching a video today, but you want to do something differently, so it gives you options. Here you can see the perfect example of what UDL stands for. It is like universal for everybody, creating options for students, right? Now check the videos, because I always give you a learning tip in each video, so you have 4 learning tips. But let's say that you are not into watching a video, you have some other options, right? And you also have a form at the end where you can comment, where you can actually interact with the other learners. Important, you have the material here to download, so in case you want to go over the material later, you have the material there to download it and study the material later. Module number 4, we also continue with UDL, where you will have the opportunity to select how you want to learn. Remember that in the previous we selected the video. Maybe here you don't feel like watching the video, but you feel like just going over the infographic, but you also have the interactive activity or maybe the podcast, the audio, so it's up to you. Module 4 also has the tab, so you can download the material. And here in module 4, that is evaluation, I give you like ways to be evaluated. You don't feel like filling up a test, I give you this option. You don't feel like the test or even an interactive activity, you can create an infographic, right? So number 4, module 4 is about assessment. The last module, number 5, it will be about building it all together, creating the experience together. So I invite you to create a lesson plan where we'll have a Zoom meeting where we can discuss, we can talk, and I also give you the opportunity to go and analyze all the modules that we have seen with this infographic. All the material will be there available for you to go and check it out. And important, at the end of the module, we always have this stuff, so you can check the information, you can download the information, you can save it to your computer, so you have it there for reference, yes, to check the material at any time. Last, we'll have a reflection in which you can share with me like your thoughts, how the course has helped you, what things you have done, what was the positive, the negative things about the course, and how it helped you to go from passive teaching into something more engaging. So basically, this is my course. You can see that I designed the course in an attractive way with colors that will actually make you feel engaged. So basically, this is what I have to present. Watching this video, thank you for taking the time to go over it. The invitation is open if you want to take the course, right? Just let me know. It will be so great for me to have another student, to have a teacher that has decided to start thinking differently, that wants to change from having passive learning into something more interactive, engaging, and meaningful. So thank you very much.